Shamanatira Panashavya Shamanatira Panashavya Jaya Ratha Madhava Kancha Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Sri Prabhupada ki Jai. Jayam Ishtapad Paraman Sabhai Vijakacharya Sutta Sada Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 1, verses 4 and 5. Shri Vishiravacha Sadhu Prishta Maharaja Haresh Charitamad Bhutam Yad Bhagavata Mahatmyam Bhagavad Bhaktivedanta Giyate Paramam Punyam Rishibir Narada Divi Natva Krishnaya Munaye Katayishe Hare Katam. Chant. Shri Vishiravacha Sadhu Prishta Maharaja Hare Charitam Adbhutam Bhagavatam Mahatmyam Bhaktivedanta Yate Paramam Punyam Shibir Navara Tivi Vakrishnaya Munaye Katishe Hare Katam. Shri Shiravacha Sadhu Prishta Maharaja Hare Charitamad Bhutam Yad Bhagavatam Mahatmyam Bhagavad Bhaktivedanta Giyate Paramam Punyam Ishibir Navaratibi Atva Krishnaya Munaye Katayishe Hare Katam. Shri Vishiravacha. The sage Shri Shukadeva Goswami said, Sadhu, excellent. Prishtam, inquiry. Maharaja, O great king. Hare, of the Supreme Lord Hare. Charitam, activities. Adbhutam, wonderful. Yat, from which. Bhagavata, of the Lord's devotee Prahlad. Mahatmyam, the glories. Bhagavad Bhakti, devotion to the Lord. Vartanam, increasing. Giyate, is sung. Paramam, foremost. Punyam, pious. Rishipi, by the sages. Narada Adibi, headed by Shri Narada Muni. Natva, after offering obeisances. Krishnaya, to Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. Munaye, the great sage. Katishe, I shall narrate. Hare, of Hare. Katam, the topics. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The great sage Shukadeva Goswami said, My dear king, you have put before me an excellent question. Discourses concerning the activities of the Lord in which the glories of his devotees are also found are extremely pleasing to devotees. Such wonderful topics always counteract the miseries of the materialistic way of life. Therefore, great sages like Narada always speak upon Śrīmad Bhāgavatam because it gives one the facility to hear and chant about the wonderful activities of the Lord. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Srila Vyasadeva and then begin describing topics concerning the activities of Lord Hare. Report. In this verse, Shukadeva Goswami offers his respectful obeisances Krishnaya Munaye, which means to Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. One must first offer one's respectful obeisances to one's spiritual master. Shukadeva Goswami's spiritual master is his father Vyasadeva, and therefore he first offers his respectful obeisances to Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa, and then begins describing topics of Lord Hare. Whenever there is an opportunity to hear about the transcendental activities of the Lord, we must take it. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends, Kirtaniya Sada Hari. One should always engage in Krishna Katha by chanting and talking about Krishna and hearing about him. That is the only occupation of a Krishna conscious person. Mukam karati vachalam pangum langate girim yakripam tamaham vande Sri Gurum Dinatarinam Om Agyana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshumiritam Yena Tasavai Sri Gurave Namaha. So this verse is about glorifying Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, and the purport is about chanting and hearing and glorifying the devotees. So today's class, I'm going to take the prayers of Sanatana Goswami, because the great sages like Narada Muni, they like to glorify. So today we're going to glorify Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, because the verse is about Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, glorifying Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So we're going to take the prayers of Sanatana Goswami to Śrīmad Bhāgavatam and discuss these prayers which glorify Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. The first verse, Sanatana Goswami, Name of prayers of, I don't know, it's like prayers to Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, I think so. By Sanatana Goswami, yeah. Prayers to Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. I don't think there is another name for them. So it starts, the first line, the first verse, Sarva Shastra Ti Piyusha, and that means, O nectar, churned from the ocean of all the Vedic scriptures. So we heard this, we know the story of the churning of the milk ocean. That's in Canto 8. Hopefully we know. And so many things came out when they churned the milk. Usually you churn milk, you get butter or yogurt. I don't know what do you get? You get milk, butter. You get butter, okay. Churn milk, you get butter. So what happens when you churn the ocean of milk? A lot of things came out, not butter. Lakshmi came out, the moon, Airavata the elephant, Uchashava the horse. Poison came out too. But here we're trying to concentrate on what good things came out. So the cream of the ocean of milk was Lakshmi, and of course the Mantari with the Ayurvedic medicine. Nectar, with the nectar, that was the cream, the nectar of immortality. So what happens when you churn the milk ocean of all the Vedic scriptures? What is the cream that comes out? When you churn this ocean of the Vedas, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is the cream. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam comes out when you churn the milk ocean of the Vedas. And so in Bhagavatam, there is a prayer to Shukadeva actually. So Shukadeva is speaking Bhagavatam, we can also offer a prayer to him because we want to offer prayers to the devotees as well as to the Bhagavatam. So Swanubhava Makila Shuti Saram Ekam. So he actually gave to us the cream of the Vedic literature, Shuti Saram, and that cream is Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. And who is this cream for? The gross materialists who struggle to cross over the darkest regions of material existence. So yes, why is Bhagavatam the essence? Because it describes the essence. Param Satyam Shri Krishna, and Krishna is mentioned, in, of course, Krishna Vyasa, it's actually referring to Vyasadeva. But actually, the essence is Krishna. The essence of the Vedas is, as Gita says, Vedaishya Savar Aham Eva Vedya, that the purpose of the Vedas is to understand me, Krishna says. So therefore, Sarva Shastabdi Piyusha, he's the nectar churned from the ocean of all the Vedic scriptures. So the second line says, Sarva Vedaika Sat Phala, most prominent transcendental fruit of all the Vedas. So not only is Bhagavatam nectar churned from the ocean of the Vedas, it's the fruit, the ripened fruit on the tree of the Vedas. So there's a verse in the third verse of Bhagavatam, Nigama Kapatarar Kalitam Phalam Shukamukara Mritadava Samhitam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasam Alayam Muharahur Rasika Bhuvipavaka. So that means relish Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, the mature fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literatures. So there is a desire tree. So the Vedas are compared to a milk ocean. They're also compared to a desire tree of the Vedas. Is Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, mature fruit of the desire. The Vedas are a desire tree, and the mature fruit is Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Now, what does it mean to be a mature fruit? Gurudas asked Srila Prabhupada, what are the fruits from the desire trees like? So Srila Prabhupada said, well, these fruits have no skin and no seed, only juice. Only juice. Can you imagine a fruit with no skin and no seed? So that is what the fruit in the spiritual world desire trees are like. No skin, no seed. So basically it's juice. Vyasadeva is urging us to drink this juice of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam in the third verse. Pibata Bhagavatam rasam. It's a rasa. How did it become juice? It's a fruit of the desire tree. So Shukadeva has digested it. And we're getting the rasa from Shukadeva. We're getting juice, actually. It's no longer a fruit. And Srila Prabhupada has digested also. So we are getting a juice when we drink Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So it is the nectar from the ocean of the Vedic scriptures, and it's the ripened desire fruit, the fruit from the desire tree of the Vedas. So then the third line of Sanatana Goswami's prayer, we're discussing his prayers and glorification of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam today. Sarva Siddhanta Ratnadya, you who are enriched with the jewels of all spiritual philosophical conclusions. So now, a Bhagavatam is compared to a treasure chest. A treasure chest, and this treasure chest contains all the Siddhantas, all the spiritual philosophical conclusions, and the jewel in the chest is Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. It's a jewel. Why? Because Arto Yam Brahma Sutranam, it is the meaning of Vedanta Sutra is present in Bhagavatam. Vedanta Sutra is the essence of all the Vedas, Vedanta, and Bhagavatam is giving us the meaning of Vedanta Sutra. It's the commentary on Vedanta Sutra. And the purport of Mahabharata is there. This is from Madhya Lila, chapter 25. And the commentary of Brahma Gayatri is there. And this is actually from Garuda Purana. So now, second verse. I'm missing one page. Hold on 1 minute. Oh, I see. It's on the back. No wonder. I couldn't find it. Sarva Vedeti Hasanam Sarva Shara Samuditam. Sarva Saram Samuditam. The essence of all Vedic literature and all histories has been collected in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Isn't that interesting? Did you know that at the beginning of creation, Brahma spoke histories Now, history generally means something that happened in the past. How did he speak histories at the beginning of creation? Because, this is a special history. They already know what's going to happen from the beginning of creation. So these histories are collected in Bhagavatam. From the beginning of creation, we have the history book. Sarva Vedanta Saram Hi Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Ishate Tadra Samrita Triptasya Nan Yatra Syad Rati Kachit. So it's the essence of all Vedic literature and Vedanta philosophy, and if you taste it, you will not be attracted to any other literature. And I experienced that before I was a devotee. From the age of 7, I was reading like 10 books a week from the library, and my goal was to read the whole library. But then I got Prabhupada's books, and that was the end of the library. Even one book was enough to read again and again, because those books you read, you throw. And no, Gita, you read it again and again, and Bhagavatam, because you always find something new. Yeah, I lost my taste for the library books. So Bhashyam Brahma Sutranam is the real commentary on Vedanta Sutra, natural commentary. So now that was the first verse about the churning the milk ocean of the Vedas, and you get Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, the cream, the essence. If you go to the desire tree of the Vedas, you will find the ripened fruit is Bhagavatam. And if you go to the treasure juice of all spiritual philosophical conclusions, the jewels are Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. There we go. So isn't that a wonderful glorification, Sanatana Goswami? The second verse, he says, Sarva Bhagavata Prana, Śrīmad Bhāgavata Prabho, O life breath of the Vaishnava devotees. So generally, our breath is air, oxygen, but for the devotees, our air is Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. If you don't remember Śrīmad Bhāgavatam always, then you can't breathe. Yes, difficult to breathe, difficult to live. Prabhupada said, don't waste time. As much as possible, try to hear Bhagavatam, Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam. It is very, very dear to the Vaishnavas. In Vrindavan, you'll find they're always reading Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. It is their life and soul. Bhagavatam is so nice. If you practice anywhere, any condition, simply by reading Bhagavatam, you will be happy. Of course, Prabhupada did say, if you chant Hare Krishna, you'll be happy. Often he put these two together, Kirtanaya Sadahari and Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Put them together. So he also said, if you read Bhagavatam, you'll be happy. But in to another devotee, he said, if you read Bhagavatam, you will become convinced. Convinced to chant Hare Krishna, convinced to follow the process of Krishna consciousness. So then the second verse goes on, Kali, Tvanto Didaditya, Shri Krishna, Parivartita. Lord, you are the sun which has arisen to dispel the darkness of Kali Yuga. You are actually Lord Krishna who has returned among us. Yes, I mean, it's... so people in this age of Kali, they don't really want to see the light. This is the problem. Light is there. Light is there in Kali Yuga, but people don't want to see the light. And that's Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is the light. It's the sun. As Bhagavatam says, Krishna Sutama Bhagate Dharma Jnana Dibi Saha Kalo Nashta Dishamesha Puranarko Dunodita. Bhagavatam Purana is brilliant as the sun, has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied by religion, knowledge, etc. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance in the age of Kali shall get light from this Purana. Now, there's another sun. There are so many suns that have risen in Kali Yuga. There's Bhagavatam has risen. And another one is Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, sun and moon. Lord Chaitanya is like the sun. Nityananda is like the moon. Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodita Gaudadai Pushpanta Chitra Shandatamonado. I offer respectful obeisances to Shri Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, who are like the sun and the moon. They have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gauda, to dissipate the darkness of ignorance and wonderfully bestow benedictions upon all. So Chaitanya Charitamrita talks about this material sun and moon, which we see every day. This sun dissipates the darkness of the external world and reveals external material objects like pots and plates. But these two brothers, Gaur-Nitai, dissipate the darkness of the inner core of the heart. We need that. A lot of darkness there. So as they help one meet the two kinds of Bhagavatas. So the process is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. First, Gaur-Nitai go into your heart. Then once they come in your heart, then they show you the two Bhagavatas, the book Bhagavat and devotee Bhagavat. And through the actions of the two Bhagavatas, the Lord gives you bhakti rasa. You get bhakti, you get devotion. And then the Lord, after you get devotion, something else happens. The Lord becomes under the control of the devotee. So these are the sons. Of course, the holy name is another son. Harinam, Srila Prabhupada is another son that has recently risen in the sky of Kali Yuga. So the third verse of Sanatana Goswami's prayer says, Paramananda pataya prema varshak sharayate. O Bhagavatam, I offer my respectful obeisances to you by reading you when attains transcendental bliss. For your syllables rain pure love of God upon the reader. So we heard some syllables of Bhagavatam. That's a prema rain of prema coming on us. Isn't this, Bhagavatam is so wonderful. Now Prabhupada said, each and every word of Bhagavatam is full of volumes of explanation, each and every word. When you understand Bhagavatam, then you have finished all educational advancement. This is the limit of education. And we have proof that our young boys, Aruda's sons, they finished Bhagavatam, they went to college at the age of 12, because they got the limit of education already. And what more can they get? Degrees. They can get some degrees. But we are sitting in Bhagavatam class, we're all getting our degrees. We're getting the highest education here, highest limit of education. So, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he spoke on one verse, the first verse of Bhagavatam, for 1 month. Just one verse. So each word has so much meaning. And Prabhupada's books are like that. Each word has so much meaning. His servant, Shuddhakirti, one time Prabhupada was reading Krishna book. And Prabhupada said, if you read this one book, you will become Krishna conscious. And then he looked at the book, he said, no, if you just read one page, you will become Krishna conscious. Then he looked, he said, no, just one sentence, and you'll become Krishna conscious. Then he looked, he said, no, one word, just one word. Yeah, and there was one man who got a book. Now it's book distribution marathon, so it's nice to tell some stories about it. I'll tell a couple of stories. One man in Eastern Europe, he got a book, and his roommate was a drunkard. His roommate picked up the book and read one line, "For the soul there is neither birth nor death." Trash, he threw it away. This is useless. But then the day came when the Yamadutas came for him and took him to Yamaraj. Yamaraj said, "You are very sinful, you have to suffer. What are you going to do now?" And the man said, "For the soul there is neither birth nor death." Yamaraj said, "Okay, go back." So he went back, he read the whole Bhagavad Gita, got the address, became a brahmachari, moved into the temple. So then, but then after 6 months, he said, "This is too much austerity, I need a drink." He went to the bar, he was drunk, and nighttime came, and the bartender said, "You have to leave, we're closing now." He said, And then he said to him, "What are you going to do now?" And he got such a fright, went back to the temple and joined the... So these books are very powerful. There's another story I recently saw about the books. There was one man who died in Tirupati in India recently. And they were carrying him on the stretcher. And he went to Yamaraj, and then Yamaraj said, "No, you got the wrong guy." So they sent him back, and the Yamaduta said, "You know, if you go to ISKCON and take Bhagavad Gita as it is, you will not see us again." So he came to life, and everybody was shocked. "Oh, it's a ghost, it's a ghost." He said, No, it's me, I'm okay." And he ran to the temple and got Bhagavad Gita as it is, and he started crying because he said, "Yes, now I won't see the Yamadutas again." So book distribution is very powerful. Prabhupada's books they can save you from the Yamadutas. So it's always good to read Prabhupada's books. You never know when you're going to die, especially these days. Who knows with all these things going on in the world. And so, yes. So Bhagavatam begins where Bhagavad Gita ends. Gita says, "Sarva dharmam pritaja mamekam sharanam vraja," that give up all varieties of religion, surrender to me. So Bhagavatam begins, dharma projita kaita vatra, that all cheating sorts of religion, beginning with moksha, beginning with liberation, these are all thrown out from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So this is very pure. It is Amala Purana. And so all cheating religions are kicked out from Bhagavatam. Gita described many processes, but at the end Krishna said, "Okay, forget all these things and just surrender to me, and I'll protect you." So this is Bhagavatam. Now we've got the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Gita is the seed, and Bhagavatam is like the plant that sprouts. And then the second part of verse 3, Sarvada Sarvasevaya Shri Krishnaya Namostute. You are always to be served by everyone, for you are an incarnation of Lord Krishna. Krishna, Shri Krishnaya Namostute. Because Krishna is worshipful for everyone. Jiva Sarupoi Krishna Nityadas. We are all servants of Krishna by nature. And Bhagavatam is Krishna. So there is something from Tattva Sandarbha, from Skanda Purana, says, what is the use of collecting hundreds or thousands of other scriptures if someone living in Kali Yuga doesn't have Bhagavatam in his home? How can he be considered a Vaishnava? In fact, in Kali Yuga, a Brahmana who does not have Bhagavatam in his home is worse than a dog eater. Okay, better get Bhagavatam set. No. Even if you're a devotee, you need it. You need the Bhagavatam set. You can put this quote up and sell all the grihastas, the Bhagavatam set. Wherever in Kali Yuga Bhagavatam is present, there Lord Hare will go along with the 13 principal demigods. Any human being who daily reads with devotion even one verse of Bhagavatam will obtain the benefits of studying all 18 Puranas. So we don't have to worry about Padma Purana and all those others. Just read one verse of Bhagavatam, then you've got all of the Puranas. So verse 4, Mareka Bandha Matsangin, O Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, O my only friend, O my companion. Madhura Man Mahatana, O my teacher, O my great wealth. Manishtaraka Madbhagya, O my deliverer, O my good fortune. Marananda Namostute, O my bliss. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. So Tattva Sandarbha says, the Vedas, Puranas, and poetic works instruct one like a master, a friend, or beloved. So we've got instruction by master, friend, or beloved. So the Vedic tradition recognizes three ways of teaching. like a ruler, like a friend, and like a lover. So the Vedas speak like a ruler, very heavy. Satyam Veda Dharmam Chara, speak the truth and be religious. They don't need to offer logical reasons. One is expected to obey without question if the Vedas say something. The Puranas instruct like a friend, narrating stories with moral conclusions. And Kavya, poetic literature, gives counsel like a beloved lady, speaking sweetly but indirectly. So Bhagavatam, which one is Bhagavatam? Is it like a ruler, like a friend, like a lover? Which one is Bhagavatam? All three, yes. Sometimes Bhagavatam is very heavy, like the second verse I just quoted. We are kicking out all cheating religions from this work, so that's pretty heavy. Sometimes like a friend, like Narada Muni, telling the story of his life, the story of Dhruva Maharaj. And we get morality, we get moral lessons from them. And poetic, like in the 10th canto, 31st chapter, Tavakatam Ritam, Tat Hajivanam Kavibe Editam Kalmashapaham Shavanamangalam Śrīmad Bhuvignantiye Bodhidachanha. So, yes, the gopis are instructing like a lover, and that is their position. Now, what happens if we hear Bhagavatam attentively? The second verse also, the last part of the second verse in Bhagavatam, Sadyo hit yavarutyate trakritibi shishushubistakshanat. As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, the Lord is established in his heart. You capture Krishna in your heart if you hear attentively and submissively. So in the purport, Prabhupada says, one must be anxious to hear this transcendental message. Desire to sincerely hear is the first qualification. This is the purport of verse 112. This is 112 purport. One becomes qualified to hear Śrīmad Bhāgavatam after many pious deeds. So Prabhupada says, the intelligent person with thoughtful discretion can be assured by the great sage Vyasadeva. He can realize the Supreme Personality directly by hearing Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Without undergoing the different stages of realization, you know, the Vedas, they say you have to be born a Shudra for 100 births, and then Vaishya, then Kshatriya, and then Brahman. So many births before you can understand, before you can get spiritual knowledge. But here, all you have to do is read Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. You don't have to go through all those steps, many births. Without undergoing, Prabhupada says, the different stages of realization set forth in the Vedas, one can be lifted immediately to the position of Paramahansa simply by agreeing to receive this message. So if you just agree to receive the message of Bhagavatam, you're Paramahansa. Paramahansa. Bhagavatam is meant for Paramahansas, but even if we're not Paramahansas, if we just have anxiety to hear Bhagavatam, you agree to hear Bhagavatam, we're on the level of Paramahansas. Isn't that wonderful? So we are discussing the prayers of Shukadeva Goswami, glorifying Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, and we're on the last prayer. Ha namuncha kada chinmam premna rit kandayos. But second part of the last prayer. Please don't ever leave me. Please become manifest in my heart and my throat, accompanied by pure love of Krishna. I see. Yes, so Sanatana Goswami's prayer to keep Bhagavatam always with him, finally to realize Bhagavatam with words and heart. And these are the aims of studying Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, hearing Bhagavatam, to experience Bhagavatam as our friend, our guru, and have a change of heart. So these are the prayers of Sanatana Goswami. Now in the second canto, third chapter, verse 17, Bhagavatam glories are also there. Ayurharati Vaipunsa Mudyan Astanchyana. So, Sharte Yakshanonita Uttama Shloka Vartaya. That both by rising and setting, the sun decreases duration of life of everyone, except who? One who hears and chants. Hears and chants the topics of the all-good personality of Godhead. Now, this verse says, in the verse Giyate, Paramam Punyam, that we should chant Giyate. This is sung by the great devotees. Paramam Punyam Rishibi, the great devotees sing this. So even Prabhupada says, we're not a great devotee. It's okay. If you just hear, you'll become Paramahansa. So then there's a similar verse. Piyeta. Here it says to drink. Just like the third verse of Bhagavatam says we should drink. We discussed that already. It's a fruit of the Vedas, but it became a rasa for us to drink because it has been digested by Shukadeva and Srila Prabhupada. So now there's a verse by Shonaka Rishi in the first canto, 16th chapter, verse 8. Nakaschin miyate tavad yavarashta ihantaka itarartam hi bhagavan ahuttam paramarshibi aho niloke piyeta hari lilamrita vacha. So, oh you human beings, piyeta, drink this nectar. Because if you drink this, you will not see the Yamadutas. And we already told 2 stories about that. How Yamaraj took people, but then he sent them back. So the verse says, 116.8, as long as Yamaraj, who causes everyone's death, is present here, no one shall meet with death. The great sages have invited the controller of death, Yamaraj, representative of the Lord. Living beings under his grip should take advantage by hearing the deathless nectar in the form of this narration of transcendental pastimes of the Lord. Aho niloke piyeta. Human beings, drink the nectar of Hari Lila Amrita. Yes. So, Yamaraj is not to be feared by the devotees, Prabhupada said. We don't have to worry. Like the Yamadutas told that person who died and came back, they said, if you don't want to see us again, go get Bhagavad Gita as it is from ISKCON. I told that story. One guy died in Tirupati, went to Yamaraj, he said, you got the wrong guy, send him back. The Yamadutas told him, go buy Bhagavad Gita as it is. So they're also engaging in book distribution. They're helping us in the marathon, the Yamadutas. Isn't that nice? So just imagine, if you just keep hearing Bhagavatam, then Yamadutas won't come. So Prabhupada said it's Yamaraj's duty to see the rascals who have forgotten Krishna and come here to enjoy. They must be punished. So it is advised, ahori leke piyata, hari linamritavacha. You got this body, go on drinking the nectarian juice of Krishna Katha. So Prabhupada said those who are born in human body, they should join this movement. So for a devotee, it appears like death, but it's not death. Because if you surrender to Krishna, the death is stopped, Prabhupada. We won't experience death unless we nullify it by accepting anything against the bhakti principle. So don't nullify our guarantee, we're safe from death. We should not nullify it. Otherwise, deathlessness is guaranteed. If you simply know Yamaraj is here, he's supervising, I may not fall down, then you will not die. Yeah, Yamaraj is here, he's here in Bhagavatam class. He likes to hear katha. I know, maybe one of you is Yamaraj. We don't know who is Yamaraj here, but yeah, he's somewhere in the class today. So don't worry about dying in this class. You should always have Bhagavatam playing on your CD. No, we don't have CDs anymore. We have USBs, don't we? Or no, MP3s. I don't know what we have, but It's going too fast for me to keep up with it. I still have cassette tapes and CDs. And now I do have a little box that plays Prabhupada's lectures. I don't know what that's called, MP3 or something. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so keep it on your MP3. So Prabhupada gave us advice. Try to perceive the truth. You have begun Krishna consciousness. Your death has been stopped, but don't fall down and again capture death. Now, I'll read a little from the purport of that verse 116.8. Every human being dislikes meeting death, but he does not know how to get rid of death. The surest remedy for avoiding death is to accustom oneself to hearing nectarian pastimes of the Lord as they are narrated in the text of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Death protection, life insurance we have here, life insurance. Get your life insurance, Bhagavatam. Real life insurance. Ensures you will also not die, and not just for your family. Real life insurance. And it is advised, therefore, any human being who desires freedom from death should take to this course of life as recommended by the rishis headed by Shonaka. Kirtanaya Sadahari and Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. So we know Dhruva Maharaj at the time of death, he saw the Vishuddhutas and he didn't know how to receive them. So he forgot what to do, so he offered obeisances and chanted the holy name. So if death comes, you don't know what to do, just chant. Just chant Hare Krishna. And that will please the Vishuddhutas who have come to take you. Because surely they will come and take you, since you are a devotee. So Prabhupada said in that purport, this is 4:12:22, a devotee either in danger or happiness constantly chants Hare Krishna mantra. When he's in danger, he's immediately relieved, and when he's in a position to see Lord Vishnu or his associates, by chanting the Maha Mantra, he can please the Lord. So again, we have to read Bhagavatam and chant Hare Krishna, and they both go together. Shuddha Kirti says, one time in LA, Prabhupada said, if it were not for the chanting of Maha Mantra, you boys and girls could not do anything, and that's a fact. In the West, you've used so many drugs, you cannot accomplish anything. Chanting Hare Krishna has enabled you to get all these temples and devotees. It is simply Krishna's mercy and the chanting. And we could see that. We start chanting and automatically we could give up all our bad habits and get attraction for reading the scriptures just by chanting. 10 hours a day on Harinam, dancing and chanting in the sun, the hot sun, the rain, and the snow. We were chanting and dancing 10 hours a day. And that really helped us get a taste for reading the books as well. So before the end of Kali Yuga, Srila Prabhupada was talking with Allen Ginsberg that how bad Kali Yuga is going to get. We're already seeing how bad it's getting. He said there will not be any trees or bushes. All animals will be eating human beings. Our pet dogs will run in packs in the street and eat everybody. Our pet dogs, because there won't be any food. There's no dog food to feed them in Kali Yuga, at the end of Kali Yuga. And the fruits will be huge seeds surrounded by skin. What are you going to eat? The fruit, opposite of the spiritual world. And nothing to eat, and the devotees will have to live in caves, because everybody will be cannibals. So Alan said, and your disciples, will they live in the caves? Prabhupada said, my disciples will have gone back to Godhead by then. And he said, oh, really? Prabhupada said, yes, they're very advanced. They're going to go back very shortly. They're chanting. They're taking part in this process. They're becoming pure devotees in this lifetime. So that's also open for you, anyone who follows Prabhupada. He has this guarantee. And so Alan said, yes, and what will happen to the rest of us? And Prabhupada said, he leaned over to Allen Ginsberg. Allen Ginsberg leaned over to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, at the end of Kali Yuga, I will eat you and you will eat me. To avoid this, you must go back to Godhead. So yes, we have to be very careful. So Prabhupada has given us a wonderful process to follow. Hear Bhagavatam, chant Hare Krishna. Then we will get change of heart. We just have to be faithful to Prabhupada and try to serve, even though we have so many anarthas, we're going through anartha nivritti. But if we persevere, we will capture the Lord in the heart, as is promised to us in the second verse of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So I will stop here. If anybody has any questions, can ask at this time. Yes. All right.
So our soul at the moment is in Kali Yuga.
Well, it's in the body in Kali Yuga, yeah.
Yes.
The time is Kali Yuga.
Yeah. So that means that one who does die in Kali Yuga, and he's going to be born again in Kali Yuga, not on any other planets or anything.
Well, it could go to the heavenly planets, yes, for thousands of years, and then it'll be born at the end of Kali Yuga. You don't want to go there either.
Really?
Yeah. But
Wow.
if you're following this process, then you should get a chance to be born in a devotee family next birth, and don't have to go to heaven.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
But don't leave. That's the problem. If you leave, then you'll have so much Paya credits, you'll go to the heavenly planets, and then you have to come back after. You live there for some thousands of years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to. So don't mess up in this life.
Oh, thank you.
Because you might end up in the heavenly planets, and then you have to come back here in Kali Yuga, because this Kali Yuga lasts 427,000 more years.
Wow.
And you might live for maybe, 30, 40,000 years up there, maybe 100,000 most, and then come back, and it won't be good.
Is it going to get better before it gets good, before it gets worse?
Now it's gonna get bad. The astrologers say for another 10 years it's gonna go down. It's pretty down now. It's pretty down.
Yeah.
Wars are going on and so many things. But the Lord Chaitanya's golden age is going to come for 10,000 years. So now it's okay to be born. It's good to be born here for the next 10,000 years, because we will be experiencing the whole world becoming Krishna conscious for the next 10,000 years. It's already started 500 years since. Actually, 5,000 years are past. Not 5,000. 500 years since Lord Chaitanya came.
Right.
And then so we should have, it may take some time to, first we have to go through all the anartha nivritti, all the anarthas have to be driven out, and then Krishna consciousness can come here. The astrologers say another 10 years, we will be in problem, we'll be in difficulty. But I saw a prediction I never saw before, that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said that we will have 5 million preachers going around the world distributing love of Godhead. 50 lakhs. 5 million preachers. So that time is yet to come. We may not be here to see it, because 10 more years of difficulty. But yes, from now, there will be 10,000 years of Krishna consciousness, and after that, then it's over, and Kali Yuga will have full force will come, and get worse and worse and worse. It will get worse and worse. People will die early; they will die young, and a long life will be 20, 30 years, and you'll be short people.
Wow.
And the animals will get bigger and eat us, and we don't want to be here. And so now it's a great opportunity. It's like a loophole here, Kali Yuga. We got a loophole, and so that if you don't take advantage, then it's too much suffering. Okay, any other questions? Yes. Where's the microphone?
Thank Thank you, Mataji, for the nice class. You said that that Prabhupada said, if we just read one word from the Krishna book, we could get fully Krishna
conscious.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
But I see in myself, I have lots of material desires, and I'm not fully Krishna conscious. So, and I read Krishna book every day. So how can I understand?
How come it's not happening immediately? Yes, it may take some time. It may take a little time, but you got lots of time because you're young. What, 12 years old or?
11.
11, wow. You got lots of time. So right now you can't see how it's working because it's working in your subtle body, in your heart. You can't see. But Srila Prabhupada says, there's one purport, 5135 I believe it is, that he says that by chanting, by hearing, then our subtle body is changing. So maybe you had some karma to be here, but that karma is being destroyed by the chanting. And when you take initiation also, that helps to destroy the karma. So you may not realize it immediately, but it's happening, and you may not see it right away. But because you're starting so young in your life, you should get darshan of Krishna before you die. Krishna book, yes. And the pastimes, why not? Yes, it will happen. You just have to keep reading every day. And sometimes do you dream at night about the stories you read?
Not really.
Not really, okay. So that day will also come when you'll start dreaming. If you read before you sleep, that's what Prabhupada had us do Krishna book before we slept every day. Drink milk and read Krishna book every night before we sleep. That used to be part of the program, actually. All the temples had to follow, read Krishna book and drink milk at night. Okay, any other, yes?
Thank you very much, Mataji, for the nice class. I just had a question that sometimes we see, even in ourselves, and even in others, like the devotees, they can have a very strong sadhana, reading and chanting. But sometimes there can be tendency to exploit or abuse.
Yes.
So,
well, this is the level of anarcha nivriti. Now, before you come to nishta, there's many levels that you go through. And so one of the levels, you still have some tendency to enjoy the material world. Even you're a devotee, you may go out and preach and say, okay, this much for me and this much for Krishna, and so many things may happen. You it's part of the getting rid of the anarthas. So at nishta, even at nishta, there's two types of devotees who come to nishta. One type who is very fixed in sadhana, but not so good in the qualities of anger and these kind of things. They still have some of these bad qualities. And there's another type who has all these good qualities, but not so strict in their sadhana. That's the two kinds of devotees that you can't expect to meet. So you need to just tolerate, and but not if there is abuse. If there is a question of abuse, then you must go to someone who is equal to that person or superior, and explain the situation. That's really important to know. And to figure out if it's abuse or not, you've got a resident counselor here, Rambaru Mataji. So she can help you because she has courses for devotees who need to find out how to get rid of the bad qualities, how to help people who are grieving, who are in difficult situations. But the first rule in all her classes is that you have to yourself become free. And yourself have to become free of sadness, from grief, from all these bad qualities. And then you can help others. And so if it's a mixed devotional service, it's a little bit, okay, some help is there and some something else is there. So sometimes though, but Krishna also says, sometimes the devotee is soft like a rose, and sometimes hard like a thunder and lightning, hard like a thunderbolt. So sometimes Krishna, Krishna's behind all of it. Now sometimes Krishna gives us the rose, and sometimes he gives us the thunderbolt. So we have to understand that even though we became devotees, it's not going to be all roses now. We're going to go through we may even go through trauma again, even though we're devotees. We may go through some trauma, and that needs to be dealt with. It needs to be dealt with. So you've got the perfect counselor here. That's a question for her also, because she's dealing with all these things. The change of heart, yes. We need to be aware of the anarthas in our heart. Prabhupada did say that there's two lines. One is we chant Hare Krishna, and the other is we avoid offenses. So we do have to attentively take out the anarthas in our heart. We do have to deal with it. We can chant Hare Krishna, that's very nice, and that will help us to take the anarthas out, but we also have to pull out the weeds ourselves too. So yeah, that work has to be done.
So because the thing is that if you have a strong sadhana, but then if in the qualities it's like if someone, say, is abusive but has a strong sadhana, because then the abuse might lead, it will most definitely lead to like offenses, because that's offensive, right? So
yeah, Krishna will deal with it.
Yeah.
Krishna will rectify, Prabhupada will rectify. I mean, we know there's some leaders may have some anarthas, but definitely they will be purified. And if they are too much, then they will be removed. If it's too much going on, abusive, then they will not be long in their position of leadership.
Thank you very much, Mother.
Yeah. Okay, any other question? Yes.
Yeah, when you mentioned about the two types of nishtas.
Yeah.
Is one better than the other?
Is one better than the other? It didn't say that one was better than the other. I think the one who had the good sadhana was better, who was more fixed in devotional service, had a better chance of advancing quicker. Yeah. Now, he's at least he's doing something, but the one who has the good qualities is not really doing anything. He's kind of lax. So it will be hard for him to make advancement. He'll have the good qualities and everything's sweet, but no devotion to Krishna, not much devotion to Krishna. Yeah. Yes?
Where do the good qualities come from?
They come from the soul. Our soul is full of good qualities. 50 good qualities are there in the soul. You can read Nectar Devotion. So our soul by nature has good qualities. But now the soul is covered by garbage. And we got to take out the garbage to get the good qualities.
So the ones with the good qualities, and then the one who's like strong sadhana.
Yeah.
The ones who have the good qualities, is that coming from their previous work?
Yeah. They have done previous work on it, and they have done pious activities. They have done devotional service. So then the good qualities are coming out. So in one sense, the motive, they're like in the mode of goodness, so that's very helpful. Mode of goodness is very helpful, but you have to go beyond goodness. So they might have that because you get attached to the mode of goodness, you get attached to living a good life and feeling like you're a good person. And you have a lot of knowledge too. You have knowledge and you're happy. And so therefore, because you're happy in the mode of goodness, you may think, why should I go beyond this? This is enough, Yeah, if you're really, but it can lead to complacency. It can lead to complacency. Yeah. So we have to go beyond goodness. This is the point. Yeah, goodness is very, very nice place to be. especially in this world. Well, it can't really stay there. The modes are always fighting with each other, so they'll bring you down. Bring it down. But anyway, yeah. Okay, any other questions? Yes.
When you're at the stage, beginning stage, where our chanting may be going, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard.
Right.
So how do we know that we're actually making progress, that we are, that our chanting is getting better?
How do we know if we're making progress, if our chanting is sometimes enthusiastic and sometimes not, is it?
Yeah, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's harder.
Sometimes easy, sometimes hard. How do we know if we're making progress? Well, the Prabhupada, in his lectures, he gives a test. How much are you becoming detached from material desires? Then you can tell how much progress you're making. If you have some desires for something other than Krishna, then that will be hindering your advancement. And if those desires are going away, then you're making advancement. That's the test he gave. So yeah, you can test yourself. Yeah, in my class on Sunday, I spoke on a test also. If you're envious, you're in the material world. If you're not envious, you're in the spiritual world. Like if you see somebody doing better than you and it doesn't cause you're happy, then that's a good sign. If you see somebody who has something you don't have and you want it, then that means you're envious. Or even if they do something, yeah, if they're more advanced than you and you wish, you can wish to be advanced and serve them, but if you could also be envious and say, oh, why is that person like that? How come I'm not like that? Yeah. They could think, oh, that person's so advanced, let me help them. Let me associate, and I can also get some mercy, I can, whatever, then that's okay. Any other question? Okay, Jai, I'll go Shri Prabhupada. Banchka Pichupasya Kipasanta Bevicha Patitana Mama Awana Maha. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for bringing it. You had to go back home?
Yeah, actually,
That's funny.